Howdy folks, Bluesboyjag here, back at the pond, getting some walking time in. I appreciate everybody responding to my post about what type of videos you're looking for. It is a beautiful day here, a little bit chilly, but not too bad. So I just spent about 45 minutes sitting in my car trying to figure out how to get my iPhone to match up with Amazon Music. It's been working great flawlessly for a couple of years, and suddenly it stopped working. Modern technology at its best. Download this, hold this button down on your dashboard of your car. Drive over to where there's Wi-Fi, because it went out while I was driving. So I went home and parked in the driveway and hooked up to my Wi-Fi and sat there and tried this and tried this and tried this and tried that 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 and tried that, and finally it doesn't work. Wonders never cease. So back to the subject at hand. So I appreciate you, all the input. Keep the cards and letters coming, as they say, in regards to the types of videos you want to see on my channel. The more the merrier, the more options the merrier, and the more responses the better. Hey, we got some company here. He, I'm sure, or she, was looking for a handout. Unfortunately, I have nothing to hand out. So I thought we'd talk today about practicing. I know I've talked about this before. Maybe you can consider this practice part 2. So when you're learning a song, first thing you need to do is figure out what key the song is in. And since I don't have a guitar in my hands, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. So what you do is you can find the dominant chord of the song. And the dominant chord basically is just the most played chord of the song. And if you're a beginner, it might be a little tough, but maybe not. So what I do, let's say the riff is right? So you've heard that song before. So what would the key be? Probably that's the main part of the song. So usually that's the key. So how do you determine what note that is? The easiest way, the easiest way to figure out what that note is walk up any string, doesn't matter. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, 16th string, doesn't matter. Walk up from 0, see if you can match the note. So for instance, if the song is that means that's the key. So you walk up one note at a time on your fretboard until you match that key. Once you get that note figured out, that's more than likely going to be the key of the song. Of course, it might change keys later on. And then try another song. Try a song that's maybe totally different riff. Let's say you could do Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent, or you could do, let's see, Deep Purple and Smoke on the Water. So that's an easy one. When you hear those notes, I'm sure you've heard those songs a million times, and that certainly helps. If it's a song you've never heard before and you're trying to figure out the key, that's a little bit tough, especially if you're a beginner. So probably not a good idea to go that route. Try to figure out the key of songs you've heard 1.5 trillion times, maybe 1.75 trillion times, maybe 4 trillion times, just lots and lots and lots of times. And as you walk up the big string, let's just say, it could be any string, but walk up the big string from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 until you match what you think is the key. So well, that last note and the first note is the key. That's the key. So walk up the strings and match that note, and then determine what note that is. If it's a G note, for instance, the song is in the key of G. We are 90% done with learning the song. Seriously, because once you know the key, you can either memorize the different chords that are in that key, or you don't even have to do that. You don't have to know any theory at all, really. You just figure out the chord that comes up second after that main key chord, and that will tell you what the second key or second chord might be. Once you figure out what that one is, there's usually not more than 3 chords in a song. So if you get the second chord, you're 3/4 of the way done already. Of course, there's some songs that are fancier and they'll jump around and play lots of chords, but that's the easiest way to start out. So let's do another little test here. Let's say your song is in the key of da. So let's say that's the main note. Da. Okay. Well, we can bring that down a whole octave. Da. All right, that's 12 notes below the first one I sang. So either way, it's the same note. And either way, it's the same key. So if the key of the next song, whatever that song might be, is da, then let's just say it's F, because I don't have perfect pitch. I don't know what note that is. So let's just say F. So if it's in the key of F, with a little bit of theory, you can figure out what those chords are either by using your ear or just by using the more scientific method, which is what chords are in the key of F. So you can even look that up on the internet. Google, what are the chords in the key of F? And they'll give you a whole bunch of chords, like a whole bunch of chords, like a whole slew of chords, like more chords than you ever wanted to know. Minor chords, major chords, seventh chords. But the trick is, use the root note as the chord. If you really don't know a lot of chords, and they give you an A minor chord, use the root note, which is A. And if you're hearing that root note as A, the first thing you want to do is play the A major chord along with the song, where that note pops up, where that chord pops up. See if it sounds like the song. If it's not A major, try A minor. 99.999% of the time, it's either going to be a major or minor key, or a minor chord. So, long story short, if you hear a note that turns out to be a C, try a C major. If it's not a C major, try a C minor. It's going to be one of those two. There's only 2 types of chords, major and minor. And on the 3-string cigar box guitar, that chord can be easily 2 notes. No, seriously, 2 notes. So at that point, you've got 2 chords of the song. And the next thing you want to do is figure out what the 3rd and 4th chord is, or are, if there are 4 chords. So get that first chord first, and walk up the fretboard when you're hearing that chord until you match the note. If you're on, let's say, the 3rd string on the 5th fret, let's see if I can do this by memory since I don't have a guitar in my hands. That's going to be 0 is going to be G, and then you're going to be at A, and then you're going to be A sharp. So the key is A sharp. Most of the time the songs aren't in a sharp or flat key, but sometimes they are. So what's the 5th fret on the 3rd string, or 3rd string, 5th fret, either way? That's pretty over there. That is the old deal. It was built in the 30s. Can't see it very well from here though. Alright, so what was I saying? So let's say the key of the song, after your note spelunking expedition, let's say that the key of the song you have determined is in the key of A. So that would be your big G string on the 2nd fret. Bar all the way across, that's your A chord, you're done. That's it, that's the A chord. So, lots of songs in the key of A also have the chords D and E. So, and most songs like 99% of them have 3 chords. So if you're in the key of A, more than likely there's a D in that song, and more than likely there's an E in that song. It might be a D minor or a D7 or E minor or E7 or E blah blah blah, but it's the 3 chords most of the time. So you would just slide up to the proper fret, corresponding fret for the D chord and the E chord. So your song is in the key of A, so your A chord is barred across the 2nd fret. Your 1st chord is done. You know where that is. There's plenty of other ways to play it, but let's just stick with that for now, right? So that's your A. So your D is going to be the 5th fret, and your E is going to be the 7th fret, barring all the way across 1 finger, right? There's your 3 chords. Play it that way millions of times. Seriously, play it over and over along with the original recording. It's probably going to be a blues or rock song if it's going to be those 3 chords. Then learn another A and another D and another E in a different location. You can look it up on the internet. That's how you learn chords. You figure out the song, figure out the key, and you practice the chord progression. And that helps you with your what I call facilitation, which means jumping from one chord to the next. It's not good enough just to know where that chord is and play it properly. You have to jump to those chords quickly in order to play the song. So once you learn those chords, you have to speed up for the fast songs and learn how to change those chords quickly. So pick a song that's not too fast, learn it, practice it, get it down. Pick another song that's maybe a little bit faster, learn it, practice, get it down. Pick another song in another key a little bit faster. You get the idea. And again, most songs, like 90% of pop songs and country songs and rock songs and blues songs, have 3 chords at the most. Not to say that there aren't a whole lot of songs that have more than 3 chords, but I would venture to say that easily over 60, 70, maybe even 80% of pop songs have just 3 chords. So when I was learning how to play guitar, and you start to learn the different chords and the different inversions of the same chords, which is all up and down the neck, you can play all those chords. Once I started to learn those, I was like, oh my God, this is never going to end. I'm going to be learning chords for months and months and months and months and months before I even learn a song. Nope. You can learn that song or play that song immediately after you learn the chords. Just stick with the easy chords. Then add the harder chords or the inversions that are further up the neck. In fact, that's excellent practice. You start playing the easy one first because you don't have to jump around real quick. So if the tempo is kind of fast, or maybe a little bit faster than you would prefer, play the easy chords. Get that song down where you are right on the beat. Might take you a few weeks. Then learn that same song with the hard chords that are jumping all over the fretboard. At first you're going to be like, there's no way I can jump up there that fast. Yes, there is. Everybody's done it on a 6 string. It works the exact same way on a 3 or 4. So once you practice the tough chords, jumping up and down the fretboard at the proper tempo, then you're good to go.
There's no ocean here. Because it rains so much. It's covered in water. The ocean or whatever that is. The lake. The lake.
Hey, let's take a look at the action over here. Have you ever learned how to play guitar while watching ducks swim? It's finally a pretty day here. We've had a lot of rain and clouds for about 3 weeks actually, almost. So it's a good day for a walk. So, where were we? Yes. Learn the easy 3-chord songs such as Cat Scratch Fever. Dun, 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 dun. That whole thing is just 3 chords. You're just repeating the chords. Dun, 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 dun. You're just walking up the chords, and then you're walking back down the chords. Most rock and pop songs are really, really, really easy. Because if they were classical songs, people wouldn't want to listen to them on the radio. They want to hear simple songs that they can hum along with. So take classic rock songs, like Foghat, for instance. They've got tons of really simple, good blues songs, and they rock. And they've got some slide in them too. So learn the chords first. This is what I did when I learned how to play slide. I would learn the rock-influenced, kind of bluesy songs. I should say the blues-influenced rock songs. And because I'd heard them a trillion times. And so that made it way easier. And then I would add the second part, and then I took the slide and figured out, oh, wait a second, that same bar chord, which is, let's say the 5th fret is a D chord that you use with your finger. If you use your slide instead of your finger, it's the same chord. So now you've got a chord that you're playing with your slide, and you can slide into that chord from below. So now you're really taking off. And this is literally day 2 of your practice, right? So if you do these simple chord changes that I have been talking about today with your fingers, and tomorrow you get a slide, don't worry if it sounds like a strangled rhinoceros. It will for a long time. But at least you can slide and find out where that chord is and what fret that chord is at. And that's the beginning. That's the beginning right there of playing rock and roll and or blues, because rock and roll came from blues. A lot of the rock and roll licks are identical to the blues licks and so forth, because that's where it came from. So if you do that, I don't know, 2-3 times a week at, let's say, 30 minutes to 45 minutes a time, and just mess around moving up the fretboard, that will train your ear. And that will make it a lot easier the next time you pick up the guitar, and the next time, and so forth. If you put it down for a few days, you're going to sort of kind of feel like you're behind again. But within 10-15 minutes of doing that, you'll be rocking, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that now. And you'll be back. You'll be back. I'll be back. So I hope this rambling helped. I'm going to finish my walk here. I appreciate everyone's support. And again, I thank you for all the input about the different types of videos that you want to see. There's a lot of different options out there, and I want to try to hit as many as I can. But the idea is to give you what you want and not give you what I think you should get. Right? Does that make sense? Yep, I think that makes sense. All right, please subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my website, jagshouse.com, cigar box guitars, just like that one somewhere over there at home since 2004. And we'll see you next time.